What's going on, everybody? This is your host, Sean Johnson, the creator of Benchminer Hockey, and welcome to episode number 13 of our Benchminer Hockey podcast. This is the hockey podcast that covers single A hockey news, as well as stories from players and staff. Now, let me introduce my guest for episode number 13, Mr. Travis Ridgen from the Motor City Rockers. What's going on, man?
Yes, doing well, man. Doing well. It's Christmas Day for the family here. I got home late last night off the train, as I just mentioned before we started recording. And yeah, it's Boxing Day, but Christmas Day for the family, and I'm excited to be sharing a good conversation. Hopefully, good conversation with you here on the podcast today.
Always a good conversation. I don't mean to my own horn, but I've never had any complaints yet, so I don't want you to be the first.
I was gonna say, let's make sure today I'm not the first one.
That's right. Well, speaking of holidays, how was your holidays?
It was good. It was good. It was kind of a little bit helter skelter after leaving Motor City with coming home, having to take care of a bunch of physical doctor stuff, and then I got to spend some time with my girlfriend, about 10 days in Vancouver. So I got to see her. I got to do some nice Christmassy stuff, which I was really excited to do after not seeing her for like 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like I mentioned, I took the train from Vancouver to Winnipeg, and I just got back last night. I was supposed to fly, but a lot of people waited the last minute and their flights got canceled, and they had to hop on the train. But I booked a ticket about a week ago. Still, it was pretty last minute, all things considered. But got home last night, got to see my family, and had just finished Christmas dinner, and here we are.
Oh boy, I didn't mean to interrupt your Christmas evening there.
That's okay. Happy to have you be a part of it.
Right. So how long was that train ride?
It's about 2.5 days, two
Two and a
days
half.
and a bit.
Oh yikes.
I love it, dude. Honestly, um, so I travel in economy. Obviously, 125 a week in the Fed isn't exactly paying for that first class ticket. So
True.
I'm with the rest of the peasants in steerage at the beginning of the train. Um, it's tough. There's no showers at all for the 2.5 days. Meals are limited to like almost like prison food out of a canteen. So I bring my own snacks, and the water is barely drinkable, but I bring my own water filters, and I bring my own coffee maker and everything. I just slum it out in the back, and I make the most of my steerage ticket. But love the views, love the difference from flying. No, um, not as stressful as airport security getting patted down and 10 million questions. It's very pre 9/11, at least the train flying or train taking in Canada. You come, here's your ticket, you hop on the train, and you go. You can take whatever you want. If it fits in the train, they'll carry it for you, baggage wise.
Right. Yeah. You mentioned the train, and they're gonna be thinking about the Fedzino buses. We always joke around how it's a good thing that they don't have airplanes because there might be like one propeller, the wing held on with duct tape.
We actually, I don't know how close you follow my podcast, but me and Wheeler were talking, my co host, Dave Wheeler, we were talking probably about 2, maybe 3 weeks ago about the idea of can the Fed or would the Fedzino be able to survive off traveling by train or even like small private planes to an extent. Obviously, the planes would be a little bit out of the budget, but train wise would be really interesting. It would take probably just as long as the bus, but the bus trips are not as enjoyable as a train ride. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you there. Um, I don't know how the Motor City buses are, but I rode on a few Watertown buses, and let me tell you, no heat. Well, after our driver took over, no brakes either. So I'm gonna leave that at that. But holidays, what are your traditions there? You do there?
Traditions have changed a
Yeah.
lot since I was a kid. Obviously, as a kid, you go to like the Santa Claus parade, you see the holiday train, opening presents on Christmas Day. Now it's changed a lot to last year I wasn't home at Christmas. I was in Europe. Now I got the opportunity to be home for Christmas. Year before that, was I at home? I think I might have been home. Then the year before that, I came home last minute as well. Then college, coming home for a couple days. So it's changed a lot. More so just like spending time with family and just having a good meal, seeing my cat, and then bouncing after that and heading back to wherever else.
All right, here's another question for you. Christmas meal, what was it?
Today was beef Wellington. My cut was rare. Everybody else was mid rare. Gravy, garlic mashed potatoes, roast carrots, roast peppers, and roast mushrooms.
All right, I wasn't expecting that, but all right. I didn't know if I was gonna hear like the classic like, oh, we're gonna go with ham, turkey, or lasagna. Those seem to be like the top three.
Lasagna is good. I wouldn't mind a Christmas lasagna if we're being quite honest. But no, try to do something nice for Christmas dinner.
Right? No, absolutely agree with you there. So let's talk Motor City and your experiences there. First of
Yes,
all,
shall we?
what was the home opener like in Motor City?
The home opener. The home opener was stressful. Everybody for no, this is just from my perspective. Obviously, I'm sure the other guys would have different opinions, but it was very stressful. I remember morning skate. Everybody was kind of on edge, but just trying to get like all the details right. And obviously, I'm a rookie, and playing in Europe, they don't really care about that. So I might as well have never played the last 2 years, as far as most of the guys in the Fed are concerned. But I was just thinking in my head during the day, I was like, guys, like I get it. It's the inaugural game. We want to impress everybody, but just take it easy. Like every detail doesn't have to be perfect, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna make mistakes, but obviously I can't say that because I'm a rookie and they would just tell me to shut up. So I just go about my business as usual. Morning skate. Um, Remember, when we're going on the ice for like for the pregame light show or whatnot, and everything was to a T. Like we got to be out at 3 minutes and 35 seconds. We got to the music comes on at 3:10, and like okay, I get that's got to be a little bit tight, but very anxious. The turnout was great. I think that we had a genuine 1,000 people, and maybe under 1,000 people. Um, will be honest. I didn't expect 1,000 people to show up to the home opener. It was a very good atmosphere. It was a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it was fun. It was fun. Granted, we lost, and obviously I opened the door as I always do, but it was a fun thing to be a part of.
Awesome. Yeah, I don't know if you remember this or not, but when I first heard you're coming to Motor City, I reached out to you, and we chatted kind of
Okay.
on and off for a few weeks, and the whole time you were under the impression that I worked for the Rockers. And then when I told you, I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not affiliated, boss. You're like, oh, okay. I didn't know if
Yeah.
you were
So I was like,
upset.
watch what I say as much anymore.
It was a while ago.
Yeah. It was. Yeah.
And I was also going to ask about just the overall atmosphere there at Big Boy Arena. I've never been. I've only seen it, on YouTube. So I just want to know what it was like there.
For the home opener, or for the rest of the games.
All of it, just in general.
Gonna be careful what I say here because technically speaking, they still do own my rights. So if you're
That's right.
listening, you may have to read between the lines here, right? If you get what I'm saying, they took me off the payroll. I weren't supposed to do that, but they still own my rights. Anyway,
Wink, wink.
um, wink, 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 wink. Home opener in the second home game. Great atmospheres. Both were probably hovering around 1,000 people. It was very good atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, made me kind of jealous. I was like, damn, I kind of wish I was playing tonight. I wish I would have got the start because it was just a really good atmosphere. Um, Attendance has declined since then for reasons that are beyond my pay grade. Um, so it's quieted down a little bit. Obviously, I'm not going to get to see what it looks like towards the rest of the season. I think that having the bar in the arena so far outside of the rink doesn't really do it any justice because like you don't really see anybody in the stands. So although maybe attendance hasn't been great the last like month and a half,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't do it any justice with most of the people being in the bar and you can't even see them on the broadcast, so it does look kind of bad. So I don't know if there's a way to get the people out, but there's that. I love our walk on song, Kid Rock, Bob With a Bob. What a great song, very underrated artist. Devil Without a Cause is definitely one of the greater albums out there. My hot takes. Um, yeah, it's interesting at the Big Boy Arena. It's definitely interesting. I like the post game pizza. We always have post game pizza there. Some of the best pizza I've ever had. I'm going to be honest. I am a little bit tired of pizza after basically becoming a slice myself the past 3 months, but it is good. Nice greasy slice. I know some people don't like a greasy pizza, but like they got like lots of like oregano, herbs, rosemary, thyme, and just like a not a grease sopping, but a grease covered pizza. It's very nice.
Right. Yeah. When you first told me about your Kurt Cobain mask, and I was like, wow, what a fitting team for him to go to.
Yeah, with the with the Nirvana Kurt Cobain tribute mask.
Yeah.
I've always been a fan of Kurt Cobain. I've always really enjoyed kind of like what he stood for, the music, and oh, is our Wi-Fi okay here?
Oh yeah, we're good.
Okay. Um, yeah, so always been a fan. Always enjoyed like what he stood for, the things that he put out there creatively, music, all that kind of stuff. Visually as well, very simple, very minimalistic, and I took a lot of inspiration for that for the masks. And
Mm-hmm.
then when the Motor City signing came up, and I thought we only play rock or the Motor City Rockers, '90s, 2000, like this is like the perfect fit. Just had a little touch of purple, and we'll have the greatest mask in pro hockey, and it did turn out pretty good in my biased opinions.
I thought it looked really good, and I know you weren't with the team for too long for a lot of road trips. So this next question: Wild road trip story. Now, it doesn't have to be with Motor City if you don't want it to be. Just you got one you want to share with the fans? We're talking about wild road trip stories. You have one you want to share? It doesn't have to be with Motor City if you don't want it to be. Just in general.
God, do I share a really good road trip story or do I not?
The fans sure love
You
the
know,
road trip stories. I don't know what it is, but fans love hearing about the road trips.
I'll give you an exclusive. So, um, no disrespect. I don't think that this podcast will put up as many views or eyeballs as mine does, and I've never shared this one on mine for that reason. So, I'm going to give you the
You're
exclusive. Hopefully, it doesn't get me in too much hot water. Okay, so our first road trip of the year, we're going to Watertown, and so hop on the bus. We leave around midnight to go to like any road trips that we go on. So get on the bus around midnight, and it is freezing. It's middle end of October, freezing cold. But in my head, I just think that we're just gonna pick the bus up from the depot, heat it up, and then just carry on with the trip. And then so I pick my seat. We start going on the road trip, and then about 30 minutes into the road trip, I realize I hear this like wind, like this like whooshing sound, and I look up and I realize that there's like a hole in the roof of the bus, right? And now I don't know if it's just from like rust or whatnot, or if it's like an actual like ventilating hole, but it's a hole probably about, say, about the size of my fist, maybe a little bit smaller than my fist, in the roof, right above where my seat is, so very inconveniently placed. We also didn't have any heat, so we're humming down the highway at around 80, 90 miles an hour or whatever the bus go. I think it might only be like 70. But we're humming down the highway, cold air coming in through the hole and no heat, and I'm freezing. And we were told for the road trip, just bring a tracksuit, track pants, you're fine. Well, praise the Lord that I brought like so many sweaters and sweatpants, because I like to change my clothes out a couple times a day. I don't like sitting in the same clothes for too long, and so I'm freezing, like just hypothermia, freezing, like right in front of this wind hole. And obviously, as you know, in the Fedzino, you're a rookie, which they consider me. So you shut up, you don't say anything, you don't complain about being cold. You just you make do and make best of the situation. So I put on three pairs of sweatpants. I put on three sweaters and a jacket. I put on every pair of sock that I have in my gym bag. I put on my shoes. I brought one pillow and anything I could find. I covered myself up in it, and I was still freezing all night for this 10, or it might have been, I think it was 10-hour road trip to Watertown. And so we ended up pulling over around 9 in the morning. We stopped McDonald's, and I pull my shoes off, and like at this point, like my toes are starting to feel warm. They're so cold, and I take my boots off, and like my two big toenails have started to kind of turn black, just like a faint like gray black, because it's
Oh
so
boy.
cold in this one spot. And I mentioned to one of the guys, I was like, I think I might have frostbite on my toes. They're like, shut up, don't say anything about that. So that was interesting, because my toes, I just had this like weird sensation in my toes for like the next like week and a bit, then it kind of went away. But so we go to Watertown, morning skate, get off the bus, that's fine. Scratched that night. Next day, back in the lineup. We have our pregame meal at the Olive Garden of all places, and as you know, unlimited breadsticks, pasta, and soup will only take you so far.
Oh yeah.
So we're playing the second game. Salad was actually not too bad, by the way. Chicken parmesan as well. Um, Playing the game, 10 minutes in, Babs gets into a scrap, toss. Coach gives me the look, and I said, "Yep, all right." So I go into the net, and then about 5 minutes into like playing in the first, I start to feel the Olive Garden. If that makes sense. I feel the wrath of the Olive Garden coming down the ice in Watertown, and no joke. For the first intermission and then the second intermission, I literally spent both intermissions just shitting my brains out in between periods. Pads are hanging out of the stall because the stalls are only so big.
Oh yeah.
Um, so yeah, there's that. The Olive Garden. There's a saying in Watertown: the Olive Garden. You don't buy from there; you only rent it. And it was very true that night. Um,
Believe that. I actually
yes, there's
watched
that, and
that
then
game. I wasn't there live, but I did watch that game on YouTube, and that was an exciting game.
I'm biased. I think that truly is the game of the year. I don't know how you could possibly top it. I mean, as a fan, you spend in Motor City, I think you spend 15. I think in Watertown, you spend $10 for a ticket. So you pay your $10 US, 13.25 Canadian for those keeping track.
Mm-hmm.
And for $13, you get a line brawl essentially. You get a goalie fighting a player. You have I think the three of the first four shots in the game went in. So, or sorry, four of the first five, because we were tied 2-2 really early on. Our first shot went in, their first shot went in. It's
Yes.
tied
Yep.
2-2. If you're looking for me to make my real Fed debut, you got that as well. I mean, I played a minute and whatever in Port Huron when Babs ran out of sticks and they couldn't put it back in because they had no more sticks. But
Mhm.
ended up making it my debut in Watertown there, and then so you get the debut back and forth. We had the lead for I think 30 seconds in the first period. Didn't regain it till 3 minutes left in the third.
Mhm.
Um, First game, first goal, first shot. Looking nervous, not looking great. Make a big 2-on-1 save, wide open guy back door. Start building some confidence, making some saves. Pucks are going in on my side. They're going in on Husey's side. Um, he gets yanked. We bury 3 minutes left. We pull up the lead 7-6, and then a 6-on-3 kill from a minute and 3 seconds. It might have been a minute and 4 seconds, and we killed it off. I think 3 or 4 shots, whatever it might have been, for that 6-on-3 penalty kill, and yeah, we ended up winning the game. I got heckled all night like you wouldn't believe, and the fans at the end with that beer can pyramid. They had the beer stacker pyramid on the glass in Watertown, and all night there was some guy. There was like a little crack in between the glass behind my net, and he followed me for the second and came back for the third, and he was just yelling at me all night. He's yelling all these nasty things about about my girlfriend, about my mom, about your videos suck, your podcast is terrible. I tried listening to it, I couldn't stomach it. You're a terrible girl, everything, you name it.
Mhm.
Even when Babs got tossed out, he went to get hot dogs in between the period, and he comes back and he says, "Trav, I've never had people say the things about me that they've been saying about you all night. I don't know how you do it." I said, honestly, I'm just trying to like stay focused on the game. I mean, I don't really care about dude who just worked 8 hours construction. I was going to come yell at me, but I didn't do anything. Didn't do anything. Didn't say anything all night. And when that buzzer rang, I knew that beer can pyramid was behind me, and I immediately turned around and I launched all 208 pounds myself, plus 50 pounds of gear, into the glass. I knocked it down, and obviously you can't see it on a live broadcast on YouTube, but when I knocked it down, I was yelling at the guys like, "Pick those up! Pick up those cans!" So
Yeah. I,
I
I
don't know
did
if
see
he
that
heard
that
me.
clip
Hopefully he did.
afterwards. I thought it was hilarious.
People thought on the live stream that I broke the glass because it did look like the glass broke, but no, that was the beer can pyramid falling over.
Yeah. See, me, like, Watertown is my hometown, so there's not a whole lot to do there in the winter. You have a lot of bars, a bowling alley, and a hockey rink. So pick your poison. So a lot of fans like going to the games, getting a little rowdy. They do their homework when it comes to heckling. I will say that though.
Oh, they proved it. I can only imagine like the entire people behind the glass thought to themselves, I've had a tough day. Boss is giving me a hard time. Wife wants to leave me. This Trav guy, I'm gonna ruin his day. I'm gonna Google him and just shit all over me. Just a giant wet steaming dump all over me in the Watertown crease. There's even here's actually a good story I'll tell you. So for whatever reason, there's people that had some signs with my name on it in the crowd during that game. Now, I don't know if they came prepared and just had like one sign that said like, "Hey Babs, I hate you," and then they flipped it in case there's a goalie change or something like that. That they're very very smart like that. But there was people that had a couple signs like with my name on it, and one of the signs said "Go to hell, Trav." And I saw that. I made a note to myself like, that's interesting. And then on the bus ride home next day, I got a message on Instagram from some guy that says, "Hey Trav, did you happen to see a guy with a sign there last night that said go to hell?" And I said, "Oh yeah, I saw that." And he's like, "That's my uncle. Sorry about that. I apologize." And I was like, that's pretty funny. I appreciate the honesty. I feel like this has turned into a little bit of a self-help meeting, but yeah, wild, very wild in Watertown.
Yeah, they are, man. Yeah, they are. Speaking of Watertown and just the Fed in general. Now, I've seen your podcast and how you talk about how the Fed has a reputation. Knowing the
Yep.
reputation that it had when you decided to sign with Motor City, what did you kind of expect? What did you expect when you arrived in Detroit? Did you kind of expect it to be like Wild Wild West or
Yeah, yeah. I expected it to be more of Columbus, the River Dragons. Um, I'll keep. I should probably keep my opinions to myself at this point in time. Maybe
Mhm.
there'll come a time in May or June when I can share that. But I expected I was going to a place that was very similar to Winnipeg. Winnipeg being the murder capital of Canada, Detroit being the murder capital of the U.S. At least
True?
from what I
Yeah.
researched, it was. Maybe it's not anymore, but I believe it was. Um, Maybe not the nicest place, not a lot to do. Um, going there for hockey purposes, and there ain't really much else to do. This isn't Gothenburg, Sweden. I had a bunch of people in Detroit, both around around the rink and in the area, asked me, what's Detroit like compared to Gothenburg? And I said, ma'am, or sir, whoever I was talking to, I said, to ask me how is Detroit compared to Gothenburg would be like asking what's a Toyota compared to a Mercedes. It doesn't matter what model, what year, you're gonna pick the Mercedes. Every time, through and through, you're gonna
every
pick the
day.
Mercedes, and I usually leave it at that. And they would say, "Oh well, are you sure?" I said, "Yep, yep. I spent 2 years there, man. I like Sweden. Sweden's great. European or Scandinavia is fantastic, but it was a lot different than that. Hockey was a little bit faster paced, things being a little bit tighter with the North
Mhm.
American rink. Guys fire a lot quicker. They're not as patient as in Europe. And a couple times in Sweden, I had guys like wide open right in front of me. They just take their time, they make another pass, like go for a coffee, come back, do a dry cleaning, come back, maybe finish up, make the shot finally. Very, very, very different game over there.
Yeah, that was actually my next question because I know a lot of us fans, we've never been there, so we don't know what, European hockey's really like. Now, what are some major differences between North American and European style?
Um, I think that, yeah, just like I mentioned, I think guys are a lot more patient in Europe because they have more space. They can kind of work around you with that extra 10 feet on each side. I believe it's 10 feet. I could be wrong on that. Guys are a lot more quicker to shoot the puck in North America. Like crash the net. Everybody goes there. A lot greasier. There's still traffic in Sweden. I'm not saying there's not, but there's more like a perimeter presence I found in Europe. I think
Okay.
too. Yeah, guys weren't as greasy as they are in North America. Like guys in the Fed don't care how the goals go in. They want to bang them in at the lip of the crease. They'll fire from a sharp angle. Like they fire everything and anything. And a lot of broken plays. They'll just slap it at the net, and that's how a lot of mistakes happen because guys aren't expecting it. I think that I structured my game in Sweden to accommodate that. And the frustrating part for at least in Motor City was like I never really got any true game time to test how the changes that we were making were they actually going to work. Obviously, like I mentioned, the Watertown situation, not a great sample size, all things considered.
Hmm.
Port Huron, a minute and 12 seconds, that doesn't count. Although I guess it does on elite prospects, but there was real no sample size to tell if what I was trying to change was going to work. All we could do is, watching the games. I'm trying to watch any mistakes that Babs is making or other goalies are making, and say, okay, do I do that? Okay, yes, no. How do we accommodate that? Trying to keep my feet loose, being able to move and pivot at any point in time. Obviously, I have some physical limitations that a lot of people now know about that I haven't
Hmm.
talked about in years. Um, but yeah, I think just grease your hockey. I do think that the skill level is very similar between Sweden Division Three in the West and the Fed. A lot of guys in the Fed may disagree, but there are some really talented guys in Division Three.
Hmm.
The bottom guys is where it separates a lot. There's a big gap in Division Three between, let's say, your third, fourth, and your first line. In the Fed, similar all through and through. There really is no true superstars in the league. I don't think, at least, because the superstars go up to the SB, and then those superstars go up to the coast. So
Oh, I would say that there are some that would get called up, but they want to be, a big fish in a small pond. I'll put it that way.
and they're making a couple bucks. They're feeling comfortable. They don't want to bounce around. There's a lot of variable situations. I mean, for Christ's sakes, I mean, Danbury has an AHL goalie. We have an NHL player on the blue line in Motor City. Guys stay for money and for other reasons, and that's totally up to them what they want to do.
That's right. And I was actually going to ask what kind of style you prefer, European style or North American, but you just kind of said that you haven't really had a proper sample size here for North American style yet. So,
Yeah, as of right now, I guess I would prefer the European style because I tailored my game over 2 years to that. I had, I think, some success. I think that what a lot of people miss is that, and I don't want to compare because we're two very different goaltenders, but the team that I played for in Sweden last year was very similar to the situation that Babs was in with Delaware last year as well. Whereas you're giving up a lot of shots, a lot of grade A's. The team isn't great. The stats don't necessarily reflect the true story and the true sample size. Now, I want to be very clear to anybody listening that I am not Trevor Babin. Trevor Babin is the best, if not the second best goalie in the league behind Brian Wilson, who is an AHL goalie. So just to clarify, so I am not on that level, but a very similar situation. And I feel, in my opinion, if given the opportunity, I could showcase that I can play at the North American level. I just need to make some changes and make some mistakes, because if I'm not making mistakes, I can't make changes to be successful. You can only do so much in practices. So yes,
Exactly.
European style hockey at this moment in time, I prefer.
Right. And I'm glad you worded it like that. Like a lot of guys, not in the podcast, but a lot of guys just kind of assume that, oh, like I'm the best there is. That's just the way it is. Some Ricky Bobby type guys. But it's nice to see some guys like you come on here and be
Well,
like, okay, I have to alter my playing style and fix my own game first. So that's nice to hear.
here's the deal, Sean. I'll tell you this, and this is what a lot of guys I think miss in the Fed, in hockey in general, and it's why guys' careers are so short. At the end of the day, the only thing that I care about is succeeding in hockey, stopping pucks, winning games for my team, and moving up and moving on. I don't care how I do it. I don't care what needs to be done. I will make any sacrifices need be. For Christ's sakes, I was going to get Bab's Pizza in between periods this season in my pants, and I'd be running down the halls. Trav, I'm hungry. Got it. I'll go get you some hot dogs, get you some pizza in my gear. That's the stuff you don't see or you don't hear about, because all I want to do is earn that opportunity, and being a good teammate will endear myself to him, to the team, to the management, and they would hopefully give me an opportunity. Sometimes it doesn't work out like that, but using that to get an opportunity and then to make changes in my game to be better. I don't care where the information comes from. I want to be a 910, 920 save percentage goaltender in the Fed. I believe I am that goaltender. I believe I can do that if given the opportunity, and especially with the changes that I'm going to be having actually physically being made to me next week.
Mhm.
I think that there's zero doubt in my mind that when that is fully recovered and I get a genuine opportunity from a team in the Fed, whether it'll be in Motor City or not, I'm going to keep my opinions to myself on that. I believe that I will be a top three goaltender in the Fed if that opportunity is given.
Absolutely. And we will, um, well, we're looking forward to seeing that. Moving on to that subject, actually, your health. I know you announced on your
Yes,
podcast that you actually need hip surgery or a form of hip surgery.
yes, sir.
Did you want
So,
to talk about that a little bit?
um, absolutely. So, what I have is called cam hip impingement, and it's basically a femoral growth on my femur bone, which basically makes external rotation very difficult. And if you don't know what that means, external rotation is basically goaltending, a butterfly. Anything goaltending related is external rotation. So, it makes it very difficult. And I got that diagnosis about 6 years ago. Didn't think anything of it. Just noticing some injuries and some other issues. In the last 2 years, it's gotten very, very bad to the point where I'm compensating so much to my hip, where I'm starting to get knee issues and I'm getting knee injuries. And as of this moment in time, I have not skated one time in the last 13 months without steroid injections to stay healthy. That is the only way I've been able to skate. It's the only way I've been able to do anything. And when the steroids wear off, I am useless because I'm right back to square one. Problem was, not to get too political with you, but in Canada, although the healthcare is free, it's not really free. You pay for it in one way or another. So, for example, before COVID happened, I was very like on the cusp of getting in to see like the hip surgeon specialist, kind of get the ball rolling. It wasn't super like big priority at that moment in time, but in Canada, they went nutty over COVID and they shut down everything, and so you couldn't get in to see a hip surgery specialist. You couldn't get in to see for a consultation or any of these kind of issues that to me were uh, you know, plaguing my career and to be honest, ruining my quality of life because I'm always in chronic pain. I'm always babying. It's literally like having a child in my hip, and I have to baby 24/7. So when things went somewhat normal this winter slash spring, I started just calling the hip surgeon's office like a lunatic, like a crazy ex girlfriend every day. Emails, calls, emails, calls. I call the physio people that I've seen, referrals, everybody, trying to get after them because I'm like, listen, like I need to see this guy. I need to get this issue fixed
Mhm.
because I can't be the goaltender I want to be until I see this guy. And so finally, I was able to get in end of June. It was the first time I'd ever been able to actually get in. I said, give me the date. I'll be in there. I'll be in there, in 2 weeks, whenever it was. I go down there. We do our MRIs or X-rays, all this kind of stuff. He looks at it. He says, "Listen, this isn't the worst I've ever seen, but it's pretty bad. And based on what I'm seeing and what you're telling me, you're not going to make it the season healthy." He said, "You need the surgery. We'll get it fixed. We'll get you dialed in, and we'll get you back playing the best hockey of your life like you want to do." And I said, "Doc, unfortunately, I just signed a deal in the Fed. I'm trying to prove myself. I got an opportunity that I probably didn't deserve at the time. If I call it quits and get surgery now, nobody's going to give me an opportunity because I will not play this season. 0 games. My EP will be blank, and it's going to be harder for next season. Unfortunately, as much as I don't want to, I'm going to need another steroid injection. I'm going to have to get off to some start this season, get something on the board because this is not going to work." And so that's what I did. So we booked a surgery for the beginning of the season, and then every month when we got close to the date, we just back it up a month and back it up and back it up and
Mm-hmm.
back it up until the point where we actually needed it. So the steroid injection. So I got a shot in August, didn't really work. We had to do it again in September, and so had that, which was my third. I had another one in January, so that's three. You're supposed to get a lifetime of 4 shots in one area. So at this point, I'm pretty maxed out for like how many I want to do. And so whenever the shot wore off, it wore off, and that was it. Unfortunately, things went really well for September and the month of October, or the end of September month or month of October. Everything was great, no problem, healthy, perfect. November rolled around. We had a bus trip to Watertown, 11 hours in the bus. We get there late, and coach says, you got 15 minutes, everybody's on the ice, we're going to run a morning skate. And obviously you sit in the bus for 11 hours, no matter who you are, and get on the ice in 15 minutes, you're going to have problems.
Right.
When you need surgery, you got knee issues, you're being held together literally by paper clips. Not great. And that just kind of set off a series of issues with my knee that over the next 3 weeks destroyed whatever health I had left, because the steroids only work for so long. And so obviously in the Fed, it's a very wild, wild west league, as I've documented on my podcast. And you're only as good as what you've done lately, and they're that close to replacing you at any point in time. So my plan was, I'm just going to keep playing until I can't play anymore. I'm going to be as useful to my team as I can. I'm going to try to do everything I possibly can to help the team, whether it's in net, on the bench, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And just one day at practice, I was feeling my knee a little bit, and then over the course of, I don't know, 5 to 10 reps, it went from I'm feeling it to I can't do a butterfly, I'm done. And so obviously I didn't say anything at the beginning. I went home, iced everything, and it got worse as the night went on. Next morning, I walk into the GM's office and said, listen, I'm done. Here's the situation. Told him everything as is. I was very honest, straightforward. Um, Obviously, they didn't like it, but I'm sorry. I sacrificed my body to try to help the team, and that's the situation we're in. And today, as of today, I'm getting my surgery in 10 days.
10 more days.
Hopefully going to be 10 more days. Well, less than 10 days. I guess 9 now because we're
Mhm.
late at night. But hopefully is going to fix all the problems that I've had the last 2 years. No more injuries, generally healthy. And on top of that, I don't have the physical limitations limiting me in the net. I can actually truly become the goaltender I want to be. And although I'm not going to be skating again until like June or July, it's going to be hopefully the starting of not even a new chapter. It's like a new book on like what I'm able to do goaltending wise.
Right. So when you were saying that you told your doctor, oh, we have to hold off on this because I signed a deal with Motor City. Why didn't you just kind of, well, I know you said that you're waiting on like another opportunity and it might not come if you wait. Well, how do you know?
Yeah.
Don't you think you should have taken care of your health first and then just cross that bridge when you got there? Or was that just not an option at that time?
It wasn't something I was willing to risk. I think that
Okay.
I'm going from Sweden Division 3, where although it is the best series in Division 3, and in my opinion a very comparable level to the Fed, I got an opportunity on a team that could probably get some other guys. They're willing to give me an opportunity. It was hard to get. I worked my ass off for this. I don't want to do it again. I'm going to take it. We're going to see where we can go with it, and let the chips fall where they may. As much as I don't like admitting it, I think that my vlog does change things in the sense of I'm not a normal Fed goalie. Like everybody sees what I do on a day-to-day basis. It's
Mhm.
not just you see a stat sheet and elite prospects, which is why like teams were a team made 3 separate offers for me less than a month ago to try to trade for me, and our team declined them every single time. Like
Mhm.
people see what I'm doing. There's a genuine interest, and now that I got my foot in the door and there's some awareness, I do believe that this will continue. Um, I will be 100% healthy for the start of training camp. And matter of fact, September 1st is the timeline I'm on to be 100% healthy, ready to go, balls out. Um, do I wish that I didn't take steroids? Of course. I feel the repercussions of that every single day in my lower body.
Mhm.
Do I wish that I didn't have the genetics that I have to be 6'5" and have this massive hip impingement and need life changing surgery? I would love that. I would love to not have that, but it's the hand that I've been dealt, and I'm trying to make the most of it. Because
Right.
I don't think my playing career is going to come to an end. Sorry about that. I don't think my playing career is going to come to an end anytime soon. Um, I think I got lots more left in the tank to prove and to show people that I am a very good goaltender.
Absolutely. Well, you take care of your health first, and then I'm sure you'll be given another opportunity here in the future. We definitely want to see you healthy first, though. So take care of yourself.
Yeah, we got lots of time. Surgery's next week.
Mhm.
We'll be recovered from the surgery itself end of March ish, hopefully. Training in May, and then skating end of June is the timeline.
Okay. Now, moving on to your online presence, I know you're just talking about your vlog, and I, I don't know. I guess I have to catch up on some of your vlogs. I honestly, I listen to your podcasts. I just turn it on at work, and I just do my thing at work. So I like listening to the podcast, but I'll check out the vlog here soon. Um, what kind of made you want to record your journey? How did it start? I guess is my
Um,
real question.
Kind of a combination of things. I mean, I was doing like little montages of NHL goalies on YouTube for a while, and that did okay. I wasn't proud of it anymore. I wanted to do something original. I started doing gear reviews. Those gear reviews on like pads and sticks ended up, going into like on ice footage. And then, eventually one day I just had this idea. I was like, well, the clips are doing well. What if I'm going through a lot of shit hockey wise, and I have like for like a lot of like my hockey life, almost like borderline like reality TV kind of worthy shit. So I was like, why don't I just start filming it and post it? Then at least when I tell people that this happened, I can be like, hey, look, here's the evidence. So for whatever reason, it ended up taking off, and people seem to like it. Um, so yeah, that was basically how it started.
All right. And why do you think it became so successful? And why do you think it really took off? I mean, 89.8 thousand subscribers is that's something, man.
Yeah. Honestly, I think that just because I'm honest. I don't bullshit. I don't sugarcoat anything. I'm not trying to pretend to be something that I'm not. I tell people straight goods, whether they like it or not. And some people love it. Some people hate it. I try to be very realistic in the approach of like, there's nothing special that I'm doing. I haven't put a magical spell on teams. I haven't put a spell on anybody. I'm just being myself. And that there is still a place in this world for people that generally want to put their nose down, work hard, and try to get some shit done. It may not succeed for you today. It may not happen next month. May not happen next year. But if you eventually continue on, eventually the door opens and you bust through the next level, and then you carry on and so on and so forth. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that there is like that is like one of the things like I like to kind of harp on is that with patience and time you can get stuff done. It may not be the way that you want it, but it is doable. Um, and like I said, just being blunt, honest about it. I'll show you the good, but I'll be damned if I don't show you the bad. It's a roller coaster of positive and negative, and it's not the Connor McDavid, Cinderella story that everybody sees online, where everything's positive. It's just a straight shot to the top. It's we take a step forward, we go down the
Mm-hmm.
mountain, we go up again, we go down. It's a roller coaster. And this is, I think, too. 95% of guys, this is what they fall into this category. If it's up, it's down. It's sideways. It's never consistent.
Yep. I can honestly say with bench miner too. I'm early in the stages of bench miner, but I've been in trouble with the Fed a few times. Not gonna lie, because it's not always peaches and rainbows. I will show you the good, but I will also show you the bad, and they don't like it when I show the bad. But that's too damn bad. This is my channel. We're gonna do what we do.
Absolutely. Well, in their defense, playing a little devil's advocate, devil's avocado, if you will, they run a very tight budget and a tight margin. They're trying to stay afloat. They don't want to be made look bad. They want to bring people in the doors. They want to, they want to make revenue. They want the tickets. They want the beer money. They want all this kind of stuff. I mean, for Christ's sakes, Joe Pace doing, 5-round shootouts at the end of warmups to try to bring people in earlier to sell more beers and not do a shootout at the end of overtime. If the game went to overtime, anything goes in the Fed, and they make the rules. They change the rules at any point in time, and you just say, "Thank you. Can I have some more?"
Oh, Mr. Jackie Moon himself. Oh God.
I was talking to Pacer today over Instagram, and I've been poking at guys that, on the team or connections. Even the Mississippi Seawolves Instagram page, I tagged them in a clip the other day. They're like, "We'd love to have one of the Seawolves in the podcast." I said, "Give me the legend. I want Joe Pace in my podcast." I tell a story about Joe Pace every episode, as you know. Something new, something crazy always pops up. I've had a couple conversations with him over text previously. This is like years ago, but I've never talked to him in person. I would love to share that conversation with Joe Pace and get his side of the Jackie Moon Chronicles.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Yep. A lot of Pacer stories. I tell you what, he is a fan favorite anywhere he goes. It doesn't matter if he's the opposing team. Fans love this guy.
Sean, I'll tell you this. In my experiences in the Fedzino, from what I've heard, what I've seen, what I've lived, I've seen a lot in 3 months in Motor City and a week and a half in Columbus. One thing that I have not seen or heard is a negative thing about Joe Pace. And I mean that sincerely.
Mm-hmm.
He People have their opinions on him, for whatever. The dude's got a kid, he's got a wife, he's making it work. He's been playing in the Fed. He's coming up on 500 games very shortly. Congrats to him if he does see this. but I have not heard a negative thing. I've heard from everybody that he's a charismatic, cares about you kind of person, shirt off his back, and he makes sure the guys are happy and taken care of.
Oh yeah.
What more can you ask for?
What the fans see, he plays the villain on the ice. He plays a great villain, but man, one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet off the ice, though.
Absolutely, and the guy who takes care of you too, that'll it builds loyalty, and you'll be indebted to him for a while. And kind of does make me wonder too why oh, maybe I'll leave that off the podcast for now.
Yeah, and I got a bone to pick with Matt Caranci too, because he came on the podcast and he toyed with the idea of, oh, let's surprise the fans and bring on Joe Pace. We'll do a 3-way call. I was like, okay, cool. And then he's like, yeah, just kidding. He's at a wedding, can't do it. I was like, why you gotta do me like that, man?
Who's Matt Caranci?
He plays for the Seawolves as well.
Oh, sorry, Matt. If you're listening, I apologize.
Fed legend, look him up, man.
It's hard to memorize everybody's names when the rosters flip over every 2 weeks.
I gotcha. Yeah, I know Matt because we won a championship together in Watertown in 2018. But we looked at the numbers. If I remember right, he went to 8 finals, or what was it? No, I can't. I gotta look at the numbers now. I think he's been to like 8 finals though. Isn't that nuts? 6 or 8.
How many has he won?
Well, no, just a couple. I think 2.
Sounds like the LeBron James of the Fedzino. He gets to the dance, but he can't take the girl home.
That's funny because we actually mentioned that on that podcast as well. I was like, man, you got some LeBron numbers, not so much Jordan numbers.
You get there, but you can't seal the deal. You're so close. All Swedish, no finish.
Hey, he's gonna have another one. He's gonna have 3. I feel it. I don't know when. Maybe not this year, but he will. All right.
Well, wishing the Seawolves nothing but good luck. They got the guys in Motor City didn't like their logo on their jerseys. I like the logo. I think the Rangers colors and the Seawolves logo. I like it personally, but hey, what does my opinion matter? I just opened the door for the team.
When I first saw it, I didn't like it until I saw it like on the ice and in person. When they first did the mock-ups, I thought they looked awful, but when I seen them live, I really did like them as well. Seawolves and Rockers, ironically, are probably my top 2 favorites.
Yeah, we got some nice jerseys. I don't know about the white ones. The black ones are really crisp.
The black
the
ones.
third ones are nice.
That black and purple looks slick. I don't really care for the white, but the black and purples are slick.
Yeah, if they end up keeping me around, I got an idea for a custom set for next year that I think will blow the doors off the league.
I'm still kind of mad that you're not 69 by the way.
Hey, talk to our GM. He texted me, he played with the idea, and then he changed his mind. I like 33. I like symmetrical things, so 33 works nice for me. But yeah, I mean, here you can clip this for the archives if it ever happens. But Joe Pace trading for me, making me or part owner of the team, and giving me 69 would be the most Fed thing to ever happen. And then on my night off, having me be a player and go out and score a goal, that would be the most Fed thing ever, I think.
See, right when you think you've seen it all, like something better happens. So, like, even if it
Or you think
happens,
of it
give it 5 minutes, something bigger will happen.
like a brawl in the shootout in Watertown with Carolina.
Oh my God, yeah. Who was it? Was that Hussey?
Yes, sir. That was Hussey.
Attaboy, man. I'm proud of you. I thought that was awesome.
I don't understand why everybody's so keen on getting in fights. I mean, I understand it's a rough and tough league, but like I like stopping pucks. I like playing hockey. Like if I wanted to fight, like I maybe it's because I do jiu-jitsu in the summers, and that's where I get all my my fighting fun in, shall we say?
Mm-hmm.
But stopping pucks is way more fun than getting into a fight. Like if a guy grabs me, I guess I got no choice but to. But like I'm not looking for it, and I don't understand why guys are so on edge. I know it's 125 a week, but guys, we really need the $20. I mean, come on, let's
Right.
just chill out a little bit. Just be a little bit happier here.
I mean, I'm not so much saying like, I'm all about fights. I'm all about hockey. Like, hockey's an emotional sport. It happens. And I'm also not trying to sound biased here because, yes, I'm from Watertown. Yes, I like the Wolves, but I like all the teams. But for so many years, I've just watched Watertown get pushed around, and they've been one of the softest teams in the league. So to finally see someone like step in and be like, to show some balls, it was kind of cool to see.
I mean, you got Penzi. Penzi's a good guy. I've had a couple of good conversations with him.
Yeah, okay. Well, he's relatively new, so that's a little different. But as far as like toughness goes, I haven't really seen anyone since Chase Tippett, if I'm being honest.
I got no idea who that is.
He's a FHL legend. taking it back a little bit.
Okay, so pre FPHL,
Yeah,
pre Prospects League.
Thousand Islands Privateers,
Okay,
way before there were Watertown Wolves. But anyways, we are running a little bit low on time, so I'm going to ask you a few fan questions. These questions came directly from Bench Minor Hockey followers.
really? People sending questions?
Yeah. So,
Great, fire away.
first one, do the fan interactions ever get old at games, or do you enjoy speaking with fans constantly?
I like it personally. I mean, like I'll talk to anybody. I mean, as long as everybody's like respectful and like we talked about before the show, if you're respectful and you're somewhat of a decent human being, I'll talk to you about anything. You want to talk to me about hockey? You want to talk life? You want to talk about the weather?
Mm-hmm.
More than happy to talk to anybody about anything, anytime, any place, even on the bench.
Well, that's good to know because I know a bunch of guys, like, especially like if you just got your asses kicked 7-1, a lot of guys just want to get to the locker room, get the hell out of the arena. They don't want to hang around fans and talk about it.
Here's a story I'll tell you right now, and I might get in a little bit of trouble for this, but I don't really care about this one. I think this was the Danbury game, and we just lost two back-to-back overtime games at home against Danbury. Tying goal with like a minute left, kind of a little like pinballing puck, and then the game winner. In Babs' opinion, told me it was a soft goal. My opinion is a little bit different, but he believes it was a soft goal, and so he destroys the stick over the post. Guys are mad that we lost, and guys are just losing their shit, and they're like, "Why are you smiling?" And I was like, "Well, because I just went and gave somebody a puck and put a smile on their face and made their night." And they're like, "You're supposed to be mad." I'm like, "Bro, sorry, it's hockey. I have things in my life I do outside of hockey. Don't get me wrong. I love hockey. I love winning. There's nothing better than winning. I think winning is the most important stat out there. But there's more to life than that. And if you just let it eat you up, like let that shit kind of eat away at you,
Mm-hmm.
it's why guys only last 2 to 3 years in pro hockey before they got to get real and get a job and then move on because their ego gets in the way. Like just put the wins and losses aside. Good game, bad game. I know it's easier for me to say now. Maybe my opinion changed if I got burnt for 10 and then get pulled 10 goals and 20 shots or whatever. But it's just hockey. Better days are ahead. It's not the be
Mm-hmm.
all end all. There's more things in the world. There's more opportunities to come. If you make them happen, just let it be. Hot take.
Absolutely. Number 2, what is the best save you've ever made? Where were you and who was it against?
Best save I ever
It's a
made.
tough one because I mean, you guys save like, I don't know, what would you say, on average 30 pucks a night? Like,
In junior, I was facing 38 a night. And then last year, I faced on average, I think I faced 41 a night on average with all the shots in Sweden.
mm-hmm.
Let's see, best save I ever made. I think the one that stands out in my mind was in junior B. We're on a penalty kill, 5-on-3. I was facing this way. I went down, didn't make the save. The puck just went wide, and the guy had the open net, and I took my opposite leg and I kicked it back, and I got the back of my skate on the puck. And I remember the guy that shot it. He just stopped there, was like, "Oh my god!" And he like froze frame for like we get like 2 second, 3 second hold. I think that's probably the best, luckiest save I've ever made.
It sounds similar to the Vasilevsky save I'm thinking of.
No, it wasn't quite as acrobatic. It was actually
Yeah.
very lucky. There was also another one, playoff game in junior B. Guy had the wide open net, and I just kind of put my sticker like this, and I got it with the tip of my blade, and it was coming this way. I got it with the blade, and then it went the other way. So it was very,
Mm-hmm.
very, very lucky. But it was an elimination game too.
Is there a clip of that anywhere?
There is no clip. They shut down my vlog. They didn't let me film games about halfway through the season, so there's no video of that. I wish there was.
Bastards. Okay. What is the favorite video? What is your favorite video you've ever made? I'm sure that's a lot of them too. So,
Oh,
right.
favorite video I've ever made. Um, I do enjoy doing the travel vlogs. Those are fun. I like doing the train vlogs. My goalie coaches get to spend a little more time in videos. I would honestly say at this moment in time, I would say the uh, opening win in Watertown, that video. I think that's probably my favorite one because I think it really captures the emotion of the game. I think that it captures that essence that I mentioned to you, that it was really a winning game of the year because of so many things happening, the adversity, and just the fact that like we talked about it here on the podcast. But if you watch that video, my first win in the Fed,
Mm-hmm.
it's the video evidence version of it, and it really I think paints that picture well. So I would say that is probably my proudest video, the first win in Watertown video.
Okay. I actually did watch that one today. So I did like that one. That's very
Oh,
good.
thank, thank you very much.
Two more. Now, this one's kind of personal. You don't have to answer this if you don't want to. Can you give
Sure.
us a range of how much money you make from YouTube per month on your videos? We can skip that one if you want to.
I'll tell you this. I'll give you a little bit of insight. So I'll tell you this. So I remember my first ever YouTube paycheck, and it was for $20. Literally, I've been
Ooh,
making videos
that's
for a
Fedzino
while.
money right there.
I got $20 for the month, almost Fedzino money. All we're very close. Some guys. Sad part is some guys in Delaware do get paid that per month, but I
Sure.
digress. Um, I remember working like full time jobs and like hating it, and just thinking like I would do anything to not do this. And then when the opportunity presented itself to go more full time on YouTube a couple of years ago, I went all in. I remember making. I went through like a 2 month span where I made 5 videos every single week, and then I went through a year and a half span where I did 3 videos every single week. I think there was a 2 week span where I was only able to punch out 2 videos a week, but for basically for 18 months, I did 3 videos every single week, and that enabled me to get over the hump. I was finally making like $2 grand a month, $3 grand a month, like collectively between sponsors, YouTube videos, and all this kind of stuff. So
Hmm.
um, that same thing we talked about earlier, that like nose down, hard work eventually it comes. That was like that moment of like, okay, I can finally do this full time. I don't got to worry about working a full time job, working at Kmart or Denny's or any of that bullshit.
Hmm.
I can work for myself and invest in myself in the game. And unlike a lot of guys in the Fed, where there's like a pressure for going from 125 to 150 a week, or going up to the SP, like I got all the time in the world. Like nobody's in control of like my financial freedom or having to work for different jobs or all this kind of stuff. Like it's in my own hands. I control that, and all I got to do is worry about stopping pucks at a competent level and just stay healthy.
Right. Well, that's awesome. My next question.
That doesn't really answer the question, but that's my best answer for you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you got enough in there. Um, I'm just kind of curious about what you do like in the off season. Now I know you have your vlog and your videos, but what exactly do you record when it's not hockey season?
Yeah. So when the season's done, I do travel vlogs anytime I travel anywhere. I record some of my training sessions, some of my workouts, and try to do like little storytelling videos or like reviews. I find reviews are big for like the summer because guys are looking for new gear. They're videos that like they're searchable and recommendable, so over time they continue to grow. But for the most part in the summer, I usually do one video a week. That's what I did last summer. Able to focus more time on family time, time with my girlfriend, just me time, being able to relax and kind of get away from the craziness that is the hockey season. Things will be a little bit different with the hip surgery moving forward. I'm
Hmm.
only going to do like one video a month, which is going to be a once a month update on my recovery, how my range of motion's going, all this kind of stuff. But um, yeah, during the off season, I like to enjoy myself. I play my guitar. I do a lot of cooking for my girlfriend, try to impress her. Family time. I travel, with my girlfriend or by myself on little trips or whatever. Try to enjoy that, and I don't skate. Like last year, I didn't skate for 3 months when I came home from Sweden.
Hmm.
I mean, right now I won't be skating until June. I have no choice, but yeah, not much skating coming up.
Right. Yeah, I was just about to say that too. Um, I was going to say, what do you kind of plan on doing this year with the hip surgery? But that kind of answers that.
Yeah, well, if you want, I'll give you a little bit of a plan for that. So, to put it nicely, the first week after surgery, I will be a vegetable. God bless my mother; she's going to be looking after me. I won't be able to shower for a couple of days, so I'm going to be nice and ripe by
Nice.
about day 3, probably. Because the any shower, any water pressure, any moisture will open up the cuts. So they told me no showers, 3 days firm. So that's going to be great. Um, I'll be heading on the train back to Vancouver. My girlfriend lives in Vancouver, so I'm going to go see her a week after the surgery. And then we're getting a place, and that's where I'm going to rehab my surgery. So I'm going to be going to physio twice a week for about 2 months. I pray to the Lord that physio bill doesn't financially break me. That's going to be expensive. But there's going to be that. And then probably middle of March ish will be kind of like a handoff period between physio and like a trainer to kind of get me back into being an athlete. And then hopefully end of April ish will be like training mode, like working out, getting back to like generally being athletic and making some progress,
Hmm.
like genuine gains by August or by May. Skating very lightly beginning of June, full on skating in beginning of July, and then August is balls out off season time, and then September 1st will be the date that I want to be ready. Because if I'm being honest, I don't know if I'm going to go to the Fed, if I'm going to go back to Europe. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, it's just Christmas as of yesterday,
Hmm.
so it's kind of tough to predict those things so far in advance. I mean, I know my agent does a good job of taking care of me. Adrian Soon, Import Sports. Shout out to Adrian. Been with him for almost 3 years now. But yeah, I don't know what's going to happen, but that's the timeline I'm trying to be ready for, and I will document every step of the way as I always do.
Perfect. Well, we look forward to watching that, and obviously wish you the best during your recovery. Final fan question we got, and it's actually ironic because we already talked about this. We already seen one goalie fight during a shootout this year. After the training with Ross Bartlett and a new hip, can we expect something exciting from you?
Well, um, so funny enough, I'll tell you this story. I'll answer the question with something unrelated. Hopefully, it suffices. But Trevor Babin, when I left Motor City, I told him I would text him when I got home, and I never did. I forgot to. I just got ended up busy with, like I mentioned, coming home, taking care of paperwork for hip surgery, all this kind of stuff. So he ends up texting me last week, and he says, "Asshole, you never called me, you never texted me. What the hell? I thought we were friends." I was like, "Shit, I got to give you a call." So I give him a shout. We're catching up. How you doing? Miss you, buddy. And he says, "Yeah, I miss you too, buddy." And I said, "Well, will you miss me if I'm coming down to see you from the other end next season?" And he says, "What?" And I said, "Well, if we're being honest, there's some inside information I can't share with you, but I got a feeling that I may be at the other end of him next season. And if that was the case, if you do the things that you do, I'm going to have to do something. The team's going to want me to do something. Now, I don't want to fight you, but I would like to come talk to you at center ice. Maybe we take a knee and we have, a little conversation while, the boys, finish things out behind center at the other end." But, we were just talking about, because he does some stuff that gets guys riled up. I find it funny. Maybe it wouldn't be so funny if I was on a different team, but that might happen, and hopefully it doesn't. But he's a good friend of mine. I miss him, Bab. Shout out to you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. But to answer the actual question, God, I'm worse than Justin Trudeau here. I never answered a single question you gave me all day. Would there be a fight? I mean, like I said, if a guy grabbed me out of nowhere, I would have no choice but to fight. If they're actually, funny enough, there was a Fed goalie this year who's been chirping me on Instagram for a while, and I never said anything because when somebody's not really a threat to you, you don't really mind, right? So like when a guy is like 5'9", he's 140 pounds, it's like, dude, come on, like I'll stuff you through the glass, please. And he was yapping at me one day online, and now we're lined up in the Fed, not like physically lined up because I don't start games, but he's starting and I'm on the bench. And I just thought to myself, I said, if the opportunity came, I would just love to just go skate down and say hi. Just how you doing? How was your summer? Simple as that. By the way, I didn't forget about that Instagram comment you made. I remember that. I have the memory of an elephant. It'd be 20 years from now. I could see you at Walmart. Hey, Sean, I remember the comment you made. I don't appreciate that.
That's right. I will behave online unless I choose not to. That's for another day. But
Sometimes
anyways,
it's fun to do things wrong.
that is all the fan questions I had from you, buddy. Really appreciate your time. You coming on talking to us. If you are following along on Apple Podcasts, make sure you're following us. Same way with YouTube. If you're following along the video version, make sure you subscribe to our channel. Do you want to shout out your information there, boss?
Yes, sir. When is this podcast going out live, by the way?
This will be Thursday, December 29th.
Excellent. My podcast, Slinging the Biscuit, will be back. Dave Wheeler and I, my amazing co-host from the city of Winnipeg, who has the top radio morning show in the entire city. Crazy. Shout out to Dave. We will be back with the new episode of the podcast on January 1st. And we will continue every Sunday moving forward, even after the hip surgery, assuming that I'm not incapacitated in a hospital. The vlog will return sometime in January. I got some stuff to update. I still haven't officially announced the hip surgery on the vlog, but I will provide some video evidence of that coming up very soon. That is on the Trav for Weather's YouTube vlog channel. So check that out. Still in the Biscuit Podcast. The video version is on YouTube. It's on Apple, Spotify, and Google Podcast. And I would love to have everybody out for the next episode.
Perfect. And we will also link your information in the description below.
Awesome. Sean, it's a privilege.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on, buddy, and we'll talk again soon.